Good morning everyone, welcome to michelleLars.co.uk and my Tuesday's tip. I wanted to share with you how I made this card. Now you could send this as a Christmas card, but I'm actually using it as a gift card holder, and I'll show you how. So we've got the Christmas tree on the front, which is from this stamp set here, which is called Evergreen. It is available. It's not in the main annual catalogue or the seasonal catalogue, but it's in a separate flyer, but I will give you the order code and the number so that you can order it. So it has the nice Christmas tree on the front with the embossing in the background, and then when you open the card, you've got a normal card back here, but we've got a nice little section here that will fit one of the gift cards, and one of the really nice ideas, I think, is to put like a £5 coffee house voucher inside or something like that. You know, sometimes you want to give someone a little something, a bunch of flowers, or chocolates, but you know that they're being good and they don't want chocolates, or that they have lots of flowers, so you can just give them a little £5 voucher for somewhere or something that would just fit really nicely in this card. So obviously I've made this Christmas themed, but you can make this any theme. So I'm going to show you how to make it. So what you need to do is you need to start off with a piece of cardstock. Can you see that? Cut a piece of A4 down to 14.8 centimetres by 29.7 centimetres, and I just want to show you what that looks like. So this is my A4 sheet, and this is the piece of card that I have cut down. So 29.7 is the full length of a sheet of A4, and 14.8 is actually this much of a piece of A4. So you'll end up with a piece that you're going to have, and you can disregard that. So you're going to end up with this piece. Now what you're going to do is score it. Sorry. I've now got my trimmer, and I'm going to score it. So what you want to do is score the centre point. The centre point of a full A4 length sheet is A5, which is 14.8. So I'm going to score that on my trimmer. Now if you want to, you can just pinch the ends of the cardstock and pinch the middle point, and then use a scoring tool to do the halfway point if you prefer, if you don't work well with centimetres. So I'm just going to do the centre score, so that should be my centre score. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to score at 10.5 centimetres from both of the ends. Now rather than give you 10.5 centimetres and then the next measurement, for me it just felt more sensible to do 10.5 and 10.5, and then you know it will be even. So I'm going to do 10.5 from this end, and then I'm going to turn it and do 10.5 from the other end. Okay, and then what that will give you, you fold it in half that way and then fold it back on itself where the creases are, it will give you your card with the little fold in the middle. Now what you're going to do is you're going to get your decorative label punch, and you're going to put the punch in so that the cardstock comes up to the little bracket point on the punch. I'll show you what I mean, like this. And you want to make sure it's even either side. You can check on your grid paper, but I'm going to do it by eye. And there's a big heavy squeeze. A tip with the punch is, once you've got your cardstock in, just half squeeze it so it grips the cardstock, but it's not punching through it, which will give you time to get both hands onto the end of the punch and punch through, which will give you this nice little shape. Now what you need to do is just straighten up the edges here to meet like this, because your gift card won't fit in without trimming this little extra piece off. So I'm just going to trim those off and straighten up those lines. Then you want to add glue to the reverse, and only at the edge pieces here. Do not add glue here, because if you add glue here, when you slide your gift card in, it will stick to the glue. So let me just grab some glue. So I'm just going to quickly add some Tombow either side. And just glue it in place, and just leave that for a second to adhere. So what we're going to do now is I have two pieces of, she says, I haven't cut the red. Why haven't I cut the red? Have I got any red that I haven't used? No. Let's just have a quick look. Okay, I'm going to do I thought I was all prepared. Silly me. What I'm going to do now is just cut some of the cherry cobbler cardstock, which is going to be the mount for underneath the Naturals ivory cardstock on the inside and the outside. So let me just do that. So I know that this is going, it would normally be 14.8, so I'm going to go 14.8 is the full length of the card, so I'm going to go 14.3 just so it's slightly smaller, and then I'm going to go by 10. So I'm just going to cut 2 of those. So what you're going to do is on your Naturals white ivory cardstock, I have already embossed the lovely festive, no, what's this called? Snow flurry, I think it's called. Goodness me, what is wrong with me? If only you could see my desk, you would understand why my brain functions the way it does. I will put the codes up for you on the video. It is called Northern Flurry. I knew it was flurry something. Northern Flurry. So I have embossed the Naturals ivory cardstock with the Northern Flurry embossing folder, which just has a nice Christmassy theme. And that's going to just layer directly on top of my card like that. So I'm just going to stick that on. No glue in there. Tombow to the rescue. So just line up your edges. And this is the piece that will go on the front. So I'm going to stick that in place now. Now I've had the snowflake at the bottom of the card, but you can turn it and put it at the top if you wish, whatever's easiest for you. Whatever you think looks the best. So that's stuck in place there. So now to make the inner sentiment, I've just got a little tip to show you how to do that. So I've already cut my Naturals ivory and my cherry cobbler, and I'm going to use the Merry Little Christmas stamp set, and I'm going to use this sentiment here. Sorry, my voice is going this morning. Now I wanted to get a two-tone inked image and not just have one colour. So I don't know if you can see, but I've got soft suede and I've got cherry cobbler on the lettering. You could get a marker pen and get the brush tip and colour in your stamp in both colour markers. Now you can do that. It doesn't take long, but you may not have both markers and you may be super impatient like me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink the whole stamp in soft suede. And then I'm just going to set it aside. You can see when I first stamp it that the ink's really shiny because it's wet, but it dries pretty quick. So I want you to just leave that aside for a second because I want it to go dull. I want the ink to dry, and the reason I want to do that is I'm then only going to go across with the cherry cobbler on the Merry and the Christmas. If the ink is too wet, what it will do is it will just smush together and make like a muddy colour. I want it to dry so I can colour over the top of it, okay? So I'm just going to do that for 1 second, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to stamp my Christmas tree from the Evergreen stamp set. So first of all, I'm going to do the base of the tree in soft suede. And I'm just going to stamp that on a scrap of the Naturals ivory cardstock. And then I'm going to do the top of the tree in early espresso ink. So the top of the tree is the outline image. This looks great on its own too, it just adds another dimension. Now I'm not going to use my Stamp-A-Majig, you could, but it's quite simple to line it up over the top if you have the clear set. So, famous last words, but that's good enough. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Then what I'm going to do is punch out the star from the Christmas punch pack and punch out the from the glimmer paper. And of course you could buy the silver glimmer paper and colour it any colour you wish, but I'm just going to use that really nice brown effect because it'll tone in really nicely with my card. So just get a little dab of glue. You don't want to put too much glue to hold the star down. I'm just doing a little tiny dot of glue, and that's because you're going to run this through the Big Shot in a minute, and if you've got too much glue behind it, it will just smush out all the glue, and that's not a good look. You'll end up having to use your glue rubber, no, what's it called? Glue adhesive remover, that's what it's called, to get rid of it. So I'm now going to cut around this. Now I did already have a die cut oval, and I could try and do my Christmas tree in here and add the star. It's harder because you're doing it without a Stampin' Majig. You can use a Stampin' Majig, of course, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the magnetic platform. Fantastic tool. So you're going to lay your plastic sheet over the top, and then you'll see that it grips the die onto the image, and I just move it so that it's where I want it to be, but when I lift it up it doesn't move, so that's not going to shift or move as I put that through the die cut machine. I also want to cut a slightly larger oval for it to nest on top of, so again you can see that it flicks onto there. I'm going to run that through my Big Shot, which I have here just off camera. And sometimes you hear a crack. I don't know if you've heard that crack. It's fine. It's perfectly normal. It's nothing bad is happening, so please don't worry. So we're just going to pop out our die cut shapes. And now I'm going to go back to that stamped image and colour in the Merry and the Christmas. So do you remember the brush tip end? So you can tell because it's got a fat line as opposed to a thin line. And I'm going to use the edge of the pen, not the tip of the pen. And I'm just going to colour in quite quickly the Merry. I'm going to try very hard not to get it on the little sentiment. So I'm just going to colour that in. And I'm going to colour the Christmas. And then I should have the little two-tone colour image going on in the red and the soft suede on one stamp. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to stamp that in the middle of your cardstock, but first of all you need to re-moisten all of the ink because the red ink will be wet but the brown ink won't be quite so wet. A bit of deep breathing, a bit of heavy breathing. Stamp it straight down, straight up. And then you've got a nice dual colour image. You're now going to layer that on top of the red, and we are almost done. A little tip also with the Tombow is I try and store mine in a little pot, so it's like this all the time, because I prefer to use the thin tip. It just means the glue goes down to the thick tip all the time. But because I'm not working in my usual space, it's not working. It's not. I don't have anywhere to store it. If you could see where I was, I'm all in the corner of a tiny little space on my desk, where every other space on my desk is full of stuff. So I'm just going to stick that on the inside. And then I just have the front here, so I'm going to layer these images up. Now I did use dimensionals to stick the dark brown layer onto the front of the card. So, because I wanted to give a bit of height and allow the ribbon to be fed underneath. So I added some dimensionals, which are always to hand because we love dimensionals. So if I just do 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom, it will allow me to thread my ribbon. So my ribbon would go round my card like this. If you wish, you can just tie it in a knot now, or just something loose. I wouldn't recommend you get it in a beautiful bow because you're going to have to undo it to put the card in and write the sentiment. So just leave them open until you're ready to send them. Then you're going to just position your Christmas tree on the front of the card where you'd like it to go, and that means the ribbon will pass through to make it easy for you to tie. Just tie that in a knot. Inside you've got your sentiment and the place to put your card, and we're all done. So thank you so much for watching my video today. I really appreciate it, and if you would like to order these products, you can get in touch with me and I would help you, or you can order it online. If you go to michellelast.co.uk, you will see my shop now button. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.